The Spirit of the Samurai initially piqued my interest solely on the strength of its unique premise, a stop-motion action platformer. This visual style, a rarity in modern gaming, promised a distinct experience, and on that front, the game largely delivers. However, this dedication to its aesthetic proves a double-edged sword, bringing both charm and significant gameplay frustrations. From the outset, the game immerses you in a world brimming with character. The Spirit of the Samurai isn't just influenced by stop motion, it revels in it. The screen is filled with detailed, often gruesome visuals. It's a visually dense experience that skillfully uses the foreground and background to craft atmospheric and memorable stages. The world feels like a living, albeit macabre, diorama, a blend of Isle of Dogs and feudal Japan, with more samurai zombies and an ever-present sense of dread. This visual density is a feast, though sometimes with a bitter aftertaste. The atmosphere is genuinely palpable. The game is surprisingly visceral, with unsettling vibes and disturbingly beautiful scenery. The narrative follows Takeshi, a samurai with a connection to the kitsune, as he battles a horde of oni. The story acts as a framework for the gameplay, with the atmosphere being the main focus. Unfortunately, this doesn't always translate to a smooth and polished experience. As Takeshi, you'll engage in sword-swinging and platforming across a grim feudal Japan. The game mixes things up by introducing playable characters: Takeshi's cat, Chisai, requiring stealth, and the Kodama spirit, offering more open-ended objectives. These shifts are welcome without overstaying their welcome. However, while platforming is generally enjoyable, the game's commitment to stop-motion bleeds into the core mechanics, hindering player control. The stunning animations come at the cost of responsiveness. Simple actions like running and jumping feel precarious, requiring precise animation timing. It evokes the rotoscoped games of the late 80s, like Prince of Persia. While adaptable, this clunky control may frustrate platformer veterans. The disconnect between intention and action can sometimes feel like a roadblock, undermining some of the game's charm. Additionally, the environmental detail, while visually impressive, can obscure essential gameplay elements. This is particularly annoying in combat, where traps are often hidden and cause cheap deaths. This feels like a byproduct of prioritizing aesthetic over function, leading to unnecessary frustrations. Combat, on the other hand, is serviceable at best. The parry mechanic is functional, and you unlock various attacks as you progress. However, the same animation delays that plague platforming also impact combat. This, coupled with inconsistent hitboxes, results in awkward encounters. Attacks often carry Takeshi too far, leading to missed blows or unintended hits on enemy shields from behind. These aren't isolated incidents, and they significantly detract from the combat's overall feel. Close quarters combat is particularly messy, often causing attacks to miss entirely due to flawed hit detection. While the game encourages varied attacks for different ranges, close-range collisions are clumsy. The game offers a combo customization system, allowing for more precise close-range attacks, but this feels like a workaround for an already flawed system. It's unfortunate that combat feels so unrefined, especially given the game's visual appeal. This reveals the core dichotomy of the Spirit of the Samurai. A visually stunning game with a strong atmosphere, yet its gameplay is often inconsistent. It has moments of classic rotoscoped platforming charm, but also moments of frustrating awkwardness. The game possesses a strong spirit, but its sword could definitely use some sharpening. Stop-motion animation is a challenging technique in game development, requiring immense skill and resources. Digital Mind Games tackles this with the Spirit of the Samurai. While not groundbreaking, its unique presentation kept me invested despite the shortcomings. The game quickly throws you into action as a fox spirit narrates the tale of Takeshi's battle against Oni. The opening hours require overlooking some early issues as the game establishes itself. Side questing and item gathering are mentioned but never fully explored. The story focuses on Takeshi and his cat, leaving supporting characters underutilized. The CG cutscenes are well produced, with effective voice work. The game presents high drama, with a classic good versus evil narrative. The developers focused on the core narrative, which is enough to keep the player engaged. It's not a lengthy game, but it hints at a significant development process. The stop motion is an ambitious and admirable choice, but it seems to have impacted other areas. For example, the manual item collection system slows down the pace, and items are often hard to spot. The item system itself feels unfinished, with many items performing the same function, and stat upgrades at an altar provide no visual feedback. Also, stat point allocation is permanent, and the checkpoint system causes cutscenes to be replayed after dying. The combo customization system, however, is a standout, adding much-needed variety to the combat. Unfortunately, the menu design is generic and confusing. The best aspects of the game are when you're actually playing. It can remind you of Robot Chicken, but it's also a genuinely fun, arcade-style action game. Enemies are brutal, and the limited crowd control options can make encounters feel unfair. It's best to proceed carefully, as enemies often spawn unexpectedly. Arrow-wielding enemies shooting from off-screen are a frequent source of frustrating deaths. Boss battles are visually striking but lack memorable patterns. This often results in button mashing and passive play. The other playable characters are interesting but not revolutionary, mostly used to break up the pacing. The character switching feels clumsy and leads to too much time away from Takeshi. In summary, The Spirit of the Samurai is a highly creative game, and it is unlike anything I've played before. However, it is clear that the game has several issues that were likely overlooked. Some of the issues players had during the demo were never addressed, and some levels demand blind leaps of faith. A skip cinematic prompt is awkwardly placed during cutscenes. As much fun as you might have, you will be constantly reminded of its faults. The developers did a great job with the core presentation, but the game needs more polish and quality of life considerations. Ultimately, The Spirit of the Samurai is a game with bold ambition, but its execution stumbles due to its unique design. While the stop-motion animation is impressive, it appears to have come at the expense of polished systems and streamlined gameplay. Despite its flaws, the game offers an engaging and visually compelling experience for fans of experimental action titles. If you can look past its rough edges and embrace its inventive nature, you'll find an adventure that, while imperfect, is undeniably memorable.